Hello, hello, it's Liz here with Stampin' on the Rock. Today I'm going to share with you a card and show you how to add color with a clear block. This may be something you've done before or maybe not, but let's get started. I'll be using the stamp set In the Moment, and I'll be using a flower die from Poppy Moments Dies, this big flower that's here. The ink pad colors that I'll be using, Calypso Coral and Daffodil Delight. I'll be using watercolor paper. It's on page 140 of the current catalog, but depending on when you're watching this, this is recorded in April, and the new catalog will be coming out in May, so that page number may change. So in the current catalog, it's page 140, watercolor paper. I'm using Clear Block C. I have people sometimes ask me, how do I know which size my block is? If you look on the sides here, one side says Stampin' Up. The opposite side has a letter in a circle. I don't know if you may or may not be able to see that there, but there's a C in there, and that's how you can tell what block you have. So I'm using a Clear Block C. Let's see, what else do I need? I'll show you the papers in just a minute. Okay, I'm using Brick and Mortar embossing folder and regular adhesive, and then I just have a spray bottle. It's just, this is not Stampin' Up, it's just a spray bottle, probably from the dollar store, I don't know. It just has water inside it, okay? So my card material that I'll be using, this is Calypso Coral cardstock, just 8.5 by 11, cut in half. It's already been scored, so we'll go ahead and fold that. I know sometimes I get too low in the camera and then you can't see the bottom of my card, so I'm working on that. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. Helpful tips are always just helpful. I'll be using a Daffodil Delight piece of cardstock, and this is 4 by 5.25. I have a piece of watercolor paper, and this is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. This is a black piece of cardstock that is 3 inches by 3 inches. And then we'll get to the next part. Okay, we'll get to the next part. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do this part first. I'm going to be stamping with Calypso Coral, and the words that I'm using is sometimes the most productive thing you can do is relax. True, right? All right, so let's do this base first. And I'm just going to stamp right on this Daffodil Delight piece. Make sure I'm up high enough for you. Okay. That's it of that. And then what I'm going to do with that, I'm stamping it first, and then I'm going to put that into the Brick and Mortar embossing folder, close that up, and give me a minute to run that through. I'm just running that through the cut and emboss machine. Okay, depending on when you're watching this video, if you're watching this video in April of 2023, the cut and emboss machine is going up a little bit in price in the next catalog in May. So if it's something you don't have yet, first, why not? But secondly, if you're thinking about it, if you've been on the fence, grab yourself a cut and emboss machine now in April before May 1st comes, and you'll get a little bit better price, okay? So, and there we go. So you want to stamp first and then emboss. So that's been embossed. So we'll go ahead and attach that onto our card base. Let me get up higher. Okay. So there we go. That's what we have at this point. I'm going to set that aside for just a minute. And let's bring in, this is the watercolor paper. So I'm taking the Daffodil Delight ink pad and the Calypso Coral. All right, the Daffodil Delight is going to be a little bit lighter color than the Calypso Coral. So what I want to do is I have this Clear Block C, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to do about 3/4 of it. I'm going to do in the Daffodil Delight. I tried before just doing half and half, but the Calypso Coral is much darker and it ends up bleeding and you don't get a whole lot of the yellow. So we're going to do about 3/4. I'm just taking the block itself and putting it in the ink pad. And then I'm going to take 1/4 into the Calypso Coral pad. Okay, so if you can see that on there, it's about 3/4 of the yellow and 1/4 of the Calypso Coral. Let's pull in a paper towel, just because I'm going to spray a little bit here. Just going to lay that down. And again, this is just a spray bottle with just water in it. And I'm just spritzing just enough to let it start running. Okay, so it's just wet on there. And let's take this piece, and I'm going to flip this over, let it drip a little bit so you're not having a crazy amount of water. And I'm going to press that down right onto my cardstock, and I'm just going to let it set there. It's watercolor paper, so it will absorb the moisture. Just going to let that set there for a minute and just let it absorb. Press that and let that get all into the paper. Soak that up. And then we'll pull that up. And you'll see it's still a little wet. You can run it around, like turn it a little bit, and then you can just quickly just flip it over and blot out any excess water. And there you go. And there you've got some color on there, but do you see how just that little bit of Calypso Coral runs right into that? Okay, every one you do is going to come out a little bit different. So we're going to take that, set that aside. I'm going to flip this over and attach it onto my black. Oh, let's come up here so you're seeing. Okay. I'm going to layer that onto the black. Okay. Now this piece here, this was cut out with the Poppy Moments dies. And I put an adhesive sheet on the back of this. So anything that's fine detail like this, that's thin, it's really hard to put any kind of adhesive on there. It's best to use the adhesive sheets. Can you just use the liquid glue? You can. It's just a whole lot easier if you have adhesive sheets on the back. So let me just get my nail here, and we'll pull that apart. Just gently pull. There we go. And then this is all sticky, so it's dry. If I just take on the paper towel and just press down, all the excess water gets soaked up. So lay that right on top. Okay, and look how that added color to the flower with just using the clear block. And then we'll take dimensionals, of course, and put a dimensional on each corner. And let's take these off of here. So is this something you've done before? Have you tried this? If you have a clear block and a couple ink pads, and play around with it, because I tried some color combinations and I was like, I don't know if I like that. So just try it again and just play around with different colors and find one that you like the combination. And there we go. And there's the card for today. And just to show you, I made another one earlier, and just like I said, each one's going to come out slightly differently depending on just how much ink white gets on there, how much ink gets on your block, and also how much you spritz with water. So look at this one's a little bit lighter, and this is one I had done earlier. And notice how that one's a little bit darker. So maybe this one I didn't spray quite as much water, so it didn't bleed out as much, like fade out as much, I guess. So there you go. So each one is going to come out slightly differently, but they're beautiful, and I hope that gives you an idea. So happy creating, and let me know if I can help you out. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.